Hello and welcome. Kerry here from Healing Humanity, the power of a proper human diet, along with, look who we got tonight, Dante Ferrigno from Ferrigno Freedom. How's it going, Dante?
It's going good, man. How's it going there?
It is going wonderful. It's glad to see your face again. We got to hang out in Austin or Tampa. I keep saying Austin, Tampa, and that was a lot of fun. And we also have Renee at Eating Meat to Walk and Ashley Carnivore Brothers. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good. Good. We have a bunch of other people, a couple other people joining us as well in a minute. Our other live stream ran a little bit long, but really excited to have Dante on with us tonight. This is our Thursday night carnivore Q&A. So any questions you have about carnivore, any questions you have for Dante, Renee, or Ashley, or any of us, please put them in the chat. And I know, Dante, this is your first time joining. One of the things we do that's kind of fun is we do a bunch of giveaways. So try to encourage people to ask questions and keep the chat going. So the first prize we'll give away tonight is a Healing Humanity t-shirt. And the only thing you have to do to win is make sure to follow everyone that is on the screen here. So I've got Dante's channel, Ashley's channel, Renee's channel listed. Follow them on YouTube. It takes like 2 seconds. And then just put hashtag ribeye with your question. And we will answer all the questions we can tonight. And then in a little while, every couple of minutes, we'll do a drawing. We'll give away a Healing Humanity shirt. So hashtag ribeye. And as we have some people here jumping on, what do we got going on, Ashley? We just did the big meetup with Dr. Kiltz. You want to talk maybe for a minute about what we've got coming up next?
Sure. I mean, we'll have to talk some about what the meetup that we just did, but I think the big one I want to make sure everybody knows about, and I don't know if you have the graphic, but we're doing a big meetup in Austin, Texas, March 8th. So super excited about that. We've got a great lineup for that one as well. We've got the Texas boys, of course, Adam and Kerry are going to be there. We've got Lauren Knight Hughes, Dr. Kiltz, which everybody knows how amazing Dr. Kiltz is. He'll be there again. Nia from Nia's Way, and Pastor Jimmy and Annette, who are also part of the documentary, have been one of the ones that have been filmed, and so super excited. It's going to be a great one. You can go to healinghumanity.movie/events to get your tickets, and we want to make sure that everybody who comes is going to have a great time. And I think Dante can attest, and all of us can attest for the incredible time that we just had in Tampa. It's just so amazing being with other carnivores in person. There's just something different being in the same room and getting to meet people face to face, and it was just an absolutely amazing experience. I'm hooked on the meetup, so I can't wait for this one to be in my backyard of Texas. I'm from the Dallas area, so for those who don't know, so just a couple hour short drive for me, and I'm hoping our Texas brethren represent. So it'll be fun.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ashley. Welcome. Lynn is here and Adam's here as well. How you guys doing?
Great. Fantastic. Now that I'm hanging out with you guys on YouTube, especially Dante.
There you go.
You always make me feel so welcome. I did want to say what Ashley said about realizing, I've probably heard people say it 1,000 times about meeting up being a game changer. And boy, were they right. It was like, I can't believe how stubborn I was to think it was as big of a deal as it is. But I mean, it's a bigger deal than I even thought it was. I understood the community that we have built here on YouTube is one thing, but when you get a chance to be together with other people that are like-minded like that, it's downright inspiring. I mean, because Katie, all of a sudden, she's not only has she jumped on board with the carnivore diet since that meetup, after 4 years of me trying to get her onto it, now she's doing it on her own.
Wow.
But now she wants to jump in and be a part of what I'm doing on the channel. She started, pushing me into getting the live stream going each week, because I've been kind of falling behind on what I wanted to do with this channel, but it got me re-inspired and it got her inspired, which is a huge thing for me, because I've been wanting her to kind of get in the groove with me on this for the longest time. But now it's like magic is happening all of a sudden. So
that's awesome.
And it all comes from that getting together and seeing people and hearing those stories and really getting to know people, and just stuff that if you don't experience it, you can't explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome, Dante. I'm so happy to hear that. I watched your video after you returned back, and it was so cool when Katie came on. And I'm like, well, we don't see Katie too often on Ferrigno Freedom, and she was so fired up about it, so excited. It was really cool to see that. That's awesome. So I'm really excited to have you on tonight, Dante. Like I said, you always have an open invite for any of these. We do one of these every Thursday. It's always fun. It's not as fun as in person, but it's still a lot of fun. So I'm going to check and see if we have any questions coming through here yet. If you guys have a question, again, real quick, I know a bunch of people have been jumping on. Question for Dante, Lynn, Renee, Adam, Ashley, myself. Post it with hashtag ribeye. We're giving away a Healing Humanity t-shirt for one of the first prizes. We have a question here from Booby Goats. How is your energy this evening? I'm buzzing and about to make a steak. Dante, how's your energy this evening?
My energy is actually quite good. I just got over a battle with the flu, I guess, for a couple of days here, which is the strangest thing because my kids have had it for weeks, but I haven't been sticking over a year. And then getting this thing that went around really knocked me out for a couple of days. But here I am on day 3, and I'm feeling like $1,000,000 again. And I ate steak both days. I was down. That was the only thing I got up for, was to eat some steak. But I wanted to make sure I had the energy I needed to fight whatever was going on. So
Nice.
my energy level is excellent, all things considered, and then some.
Adam, how are you feeling?
Kerry, we've got a question at 4 minutes after the hour that I think you up higher. Yeah, from Angelica Korea. Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to star some of these. Don't want to miss any.
My energy level is through the roof right now. I was just honored in Healing Humanity Life just now as a Healing Humanity hero. So I got lots and lots of love from our members and our team, and I feel like I could run through a brick wall right now.
Nice.
Love it.
I was not able to be on that. So I got to tell you on this live stream in front of others, for those who don't know, Adam is such an incredible, integral part of what's going on with Healing Humanity. And he raised his hand to sweep floors, I think, early on to whatever you could do to help Kerry and make this documentary happen. But man, you have been so integral in all of the filming and all of your expertise with that, putting that together. Our community is really your baby, and you've done so much behind the scenes on that. And I didn't get a chance to thank you live and in person on that one, but man, I know how much work you do behind the scenes, and it's just amazing how much work you've volunteered and put in just to do whatever you can do to make this a success.
Well, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that.
I can attest to that too, with all the work that Adam and I've seen what a hard worker he is. And for those who aren't part of our membership site, just to let you know what that's all about, we do have every Thursday right before this live stream, we have a Zoom call on our site called Inspire Together. And it's where we all come in and we just inspire each other and share our victories and our stories. But twice a month, we honor somebody that we at Healing Humanity feel is a hero. And that's somebody who hasn't just experienced healing, but they have decided to reach out to others and share with others and try to spread the news about the healing diet that we're on. And so that's how this week we chose Adam as our Healing Humanity hero. We have had Dante, and so yeah, it's a wonderful thing. So if you're interested in joining us, definitely check out the link and sign up for our Healing Humanity Life.
Yep. Well, thank you, Ashley, for saying that. I just want to say, yes, I did spend thousands of hours literally putting that together. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but, I just say, I'm going to do it. So I felt like there needed to be a better solution out there in terms of a carnivore community that actually had a really user-friendly interface and had a little bit different of a concept, and work with Kerry's vision of inspiration and hope, which is part of the theme of the documentary itself as well. So, but it's gone from, basically being my baby to being our baby. There's a lot of things, a lot of people that's involved in making sure that that flows and works. And Lynn is a good part of that. Ashley's a part of that. Kerry's a pivotal part of that. Dante is now a part of that with the Healing Humanity Hangouts on Sundays. You get to hang out with him for a couple hours and shoot the breeze and talk shop and talk carnivore and whatever you want to talk about. So, you know, it's really all of our babies now. And, you know, we're really proud of what we put together. So I'm sure you'll hear more about that tonight.
Good stuff. All right, we got some good questions coming in here now. I'm just gathering some of these together. Here's a good one from Jerry. He's asking, what would you all consider your biggest challenge in spreading the word about the carnivore diet? Maybe that's a good question to start with Dante.
Biggest challenges with spreading the word about the carnivore diet. Well, I guess it depends on where you're trying to spread the word. The hardest part of spreading it in the public community is you don't want to go calling out people that are obviously metabolically unhealthy and asking them, hey, do you want to know how to solve that? So that's one of the reasons why I just started recording what I was doing. And because I was already doing something with YouTube, but I was really just testing the water. I wasn't even close to anything what it's become. But I shared my story and I thought it was just going to be a one-time deal, and it turned into a whole lot more than that. You never know what's going to happen when you share your information out there, because sometimes it resonates with people. So that's one of the things that I found being great, was the opportunity to share my story on YouTube and other places that are out there that other influencers and people view, things like Odyssey and Rumble and a number of places. So I think that's been the great part, is being able to do it right here.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Anyone else have any thoughts on the biggest challenges? Ashley?
I have to share on this one because it was funny. I mean, it wasn't funny what I'm about to say, that my mother was, after we got back from Tampa, my mom was put in the hospital and hospitalized there. But where this question leads me to is just to answer it, in that there's just so much information out there that have been trained to our medical specialists and our nurses and everything else, that it was really funny when we were in the hospital. Of course, they were talking about my mom's diet and, you know, oh, you got to eat your fiber and stuff like that. And so she had opened up and started talking about carnivore a little bit to them. And the nurse was just really after her about fiber. And then I came into the room and I started talking to her a little bit about it and saying, well, I haven't had any fiber in 2 years. And I know people hadn't had any fiber in 16 years. How do you explain that? And we're kind of going through some of it. And by the end of our conversation, she's asking me about details about Ozempic, which was really funny to me. So it's just and she was telling me how much, oh, I know somebody else who's been doing carnivore. I'm really kind of curious about that. And she was going to write her thesis on the nutrition, and she was debating whether she's doing all that. So it was really interesting how the conversation switched from what I have to say, this is what's scripted and what I've been trained to say, to maybe there are some other possibilities out there. And so I just encourage people to not be shy about asking questions. And, you know, I think some of this is discovery for all of us from time to time here, but we're got a lot of people working through it right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I noticed that question was from Jerry Lee Colbert. I want to let you know I remember you, Jerry. He's been around a long time on Ferrigno Freedom.
Nice. Carnivore Coach Lisa said, how's everyone doing this evening? Carnivore Coach Lisa, incredible. She was out at the meetup. So passionate, so good. The Q&A, she just knocks those out of the park. I think we're all doing.
By the way, speaking of Austin, she's also going to be in Austin too. She sounds like she just confirmed she's going to be coming to Austin. So,
looking forward to it.
Excellent.
All right, we have a question from Angelica. I'm 57 years old. I have always maintained a certain level of fitness, but now I am struggling with retaining muscle. Will carnivore affect that?
Well, I guess I'm almost her age. I'm almost 57. So I'm probably the closest on the panel that would be able to relate to her. I don't know if you've started carnivore or not, but I can tell you specifically, I do use a smart scale. And so I do track my metrics. And on carnivore, I have gained 25 pounds of muscle, and I've gained over 1.5 pounds of bone.
Woo!
Because, you know, protein, the building blocks of muscle and bone. So if you're, you know, if you have good fitness, I don't anticipate that you're going to be losing muscle as long as you're doing it right. But I can attest personally that I have gained muscle and bone. My age, I started at 55. So, and I noticed right away I was gaining muscle and bone. So you just need to make sure you're eating enough. Under eating is probably one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah.
All right. Next question we have. Well, we got a couple comments. Bob Beater says, Dante was how I learned about carnivore.
Likewise.
Hey, Pa.
Let's see. We got some more here. Coco is asking, what is the best way to find the meetups?
Ashley?
Right after I saw that in there, I did post in the chat, and I'll post it again throughout the live stream. But if you'll go to healinghumanity.movie/events, we've got everything posted that we've confirmed dates on. And so after our Austin, Texas one, we've got confirmed dates for April 13th in Tennessee. And then we've got Seattle and that's, I believe, June 7th. We don't have tickets for sale with those, but I put my email address in there. So if you're interested in those, shoot me an email so I can put you on my list. So as soon as we have tickets for sale, I'll make sure I get you an email. Yeah, we're figuring out all the details, the final details of those next two as well.
All right.
Anything we know, we're going to post it on that site. And once it's confirmed, we'll post it there. So that's a great way for Healing Humanity meetups. Now, the other thing I'll encourage everybody, because this is how it started. I mean, once you learn in your community, sometimes your communities do other ones. And there's some great Facebook groups. There's some, our community has a Meet Your Neighbors where people are starting to put their information about where they're from. And, that's how these other great meetups start too, where you can just get together with a handful of people, whether meet at a restaurant, hang out for a little while, or just in a park like Nia from Nia's Way and I have done a couple of times here in the Dallas area. So just, there's definitely more and more of that happening, which is cool.
We got a comment from Ratchid. Dante saved my life, literally, with his coverage of the lion diet.
You go, Dante.
He has said that name before, and I never can pronounce it right. I don't remember if it's Rachid or he clarified it for me once though. But yeah, he's another one that's been on my channel for a long time. And it's people like him that have been there since the beginning that have kept me going, and I realized the power of this community this past weekend, but I didn't realize that I had been experiencing it actually since the beginning because of sharing my information on YouTube, sharing my experience, my journey, basically. I mean, I didn't come into this with a plan and all kind of stuff to be able to present to people. I just thought, well, I'll just share what I'm doing and we'll see how it goes. And I guess that resonated with some folks, and he's been there a long time. So I am very thankful for him as well. And, the lion diet is definitely an important part of what's been important for me, because whenever I venture from it, I go to pork or chicken, I always get complications. Some kind of inflammation problem will pop up. So lion diet has been the ticket for me, but I definitely don't dissuade anybody from a regular carnivore diet. My wife, that's what she's doing, is she's doing a standard carnivore diet.
Yeah, lion diet did it for me too. I had the greatest improvement on the lion diet, and I'm like you. I can venture off a little bit, but I do have to rein it back in and be careful, because before long I'll start having symptoms again. It depends on how sick you are. It depends on what your situation is. I have an immune system disease. I know Ray has an autoimmune disease, and Adam autoimmune. So it's like you have to be more careful and stricter if you're sicker.
Yep.
I don't venture far from lion almost ever.
Yeah, I was on it very strict for a whole year before I even try to venture out.
All right. We got a question from Jodine. I'm being treated for H. pylori, and a dietitian has me on acid, enzyme, and H. pylori supplements, only on the carnivore diet 1 week. Any thoughts for me?
That sounds like a me question. So H. pylori is a bacteria that can dwell in your stomach. It can, over time, develop a gastric erosion, potentially ulcers, could be very serious. Most of the time, it doesn't go that far. I'm curious, though, about the dietitian having you on acid or if it's antacid, because typically what happens is when you get diagnosed with H. pylori is it causes inflammation on the stomach lining. And so for a temporary period of time, hopefully, the doctor will put you on an antacid because the stomach acid could actually contribute to your pain. So I'm curious, too, because usually they'll put you on a course of antibiotics to get rid of the bacteria. It should not be a long course, but carnivore for a week is not, I mean, my biggest concern is if the doctor has you on acid, like a stomach acid.
Yeah, she said she has no stomach acid in the comments.
Okay. So you have less stomach acid. That will, being on an acid supplement will definitely help you with digesting carnivore. I would say maybe go slow with getting fat adapted, because if you're lacking enzymes and you're lacking acid, you may have more symptoms initially from the food. But so maybe just work up to being fat adapted. But I would definitely make sure you get rechecked and make sure that the H. pylori is gone. They can recheck that with stool test.
Good stuff. Thank you, Lynn.
Before
we go, before we go to the next question, just wanted to mention we got a whole bunch of people on tonight. We're going to be doing a drawing in just about 4 minutes. So if you want to get entered to win the Healing Humanity t-shirt, just use hashtag ribeye with your question, and we'll do that drawing in just a couple minutes. And let's see. Andy says, I saw Dante at the start of his carnivore journey, just about when I started mine. We've got Charger Mopar Rick. Did anyone cook on their engine on the way to a meetup?
Of course.
Why do we even ask this question?
Right.
Of course, we all did.
Cook bacon off my rifle too.
Morton Studios.
And no, it's not iguana.
If I don't like meat, can I just eat Impossible Burgers instead? Yes, John, you can.
Right.
You can. No one else, though.
Yeah. You technically can't call yourself a carnivore, though.
Right. All right. Let's see here. We got a couple questions. The next one.
Charlie.
Yeah.
I know Charlie.
Wait.
Darth Carnivore.
Darth Carnivore. We met him in Chicago.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm sorry. I might have clicked too quick. I'll go back to that one. Jets Afterburner said, question, Dante and Kerry. You guys are my reason for a life change. I appreciate you all on the panel. My question is, when are you all coming to New York so I can cook an Argentinian barbecue? Go Jets and Dolphins? Question mark.
Tomorrow? No.
That is Dan from Jets Afterburner podcast. He actually had me on his show this morning. I think, Dante, you did an interview with him as well.
Yeah. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, you throw us a barbecue, I'm there. You name it.
Actually, aren't we kind of just penciled in for the fall for Syracuse?
We're penciled in for the fall for Syracuse, but that's it depends on where you're at in New York, because I know that can be a ways away. So, but
all right. Darth Carnivore has a question.
There it is.
And I'm so glad, because I think Lynn mentioned this yesterday. I almost forgot. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. We don't want to forget that.
Forget.
Best way to celebrate Valentine's Day on Carnivore. Anyone got any ideas on that one?
I got an idea. Probably with your significant other. That would probably be the best route that you want to go. Maybe not with anybody else.
Step
There
one.
you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Roses, a nice steak dinner with
Big
no
box of
side.
chocolates. No.
Yes. Watch a romantic movie. Cuddle up.
My wife and I are going. Since we're busy in the evening already with other plans. I'm taking her to our favorite Brazilian steakhouse for lunch. So
Nice.
Meat.
Good stuff.
We're going to Texas Roadhouse.
Ooh, nice.
Awesome. Don't forget Kerry's hack to get two side salads with your steak, but tell them to hold the lettuce and only give you hard-boiled eggs and bacon.
Eggs and
And
bacon.
I'm not kidding. They bring it out in a massive bowl.
My
Yeah.
problem is I fill up on that and then I won't eat my steak when it comes because I filled up on eggs and bacon.
Well, you can bring it home, maybe.
Adam and I
Right.
did that
Right.
once filming,
Yeah.
and we had enough for breakfast for like a week. Like it
It's
was like
crazy.
a dozen eggs or something. They give you a crazy amount of eggs. So thank you, Darth Carnivore. All right, how about we do a drawing real quick, and then we'll jump back into some more questions. We're giving away a Healing Humanity shirt right now, and it was hashtag ribeye. So do we have the drum roll music yet? No?
Not
No drum roll
yet.
music?
You have to load it into your StreamYard.
Okay, I'll work on that. But in the meantime, here we
Count on
go.
my death.
We're giving away a Healing Humanity t-shirt. And if anyone's interested in our membership site, healinghumanity.life, there's the link in the description below. You can get 50% off. Congratulations, Wendy Davenport. Adam, how does Wendy claim her Healing Humanity t-shirt?
Well, Wendy, you can go to healinghumanity.life. I'm sorry, healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Fill out the form and with what you won, and send us a screenshot of your YouTube account, and we'll send your prize out to you right away.
Good stuff. Thank you. And next up, we'll give away a $20 Redmond's portable salt shaker with the little salt shaker keychain, hashtag salt. So post your best question with hashtag salt, and we'll do another drawing here shortly for that. The next question we have is...
I love those tiny little Redmond salts, by the way.
Aren't they great? My only problem, Dante, is we have like a million of them here, and I always forget them. Like when I need them, I never have them, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have.
I keep them in the car.
Nice. Hey, it's Caleb's Carnivore Quest. Shout out to Caleb. Just saying hi to everyone. Thanks for what you do. Thank you so much, Caleb. Really appreciate that. $2 super chat. Every penny from that goes towards our documentary and the series we're working on. Caleb's an awesome young carnivore. Actually, I'm having him on my channel in a couple days. We're going to be interviewing Caleb and getting his story out to the world. So looking forward to that.
his deadlift video. Attaboy.
Nice. All right. Target prime rib. Can you take a steak and put it into a heart-shaped box and give it to your significant other? There you go.
There you go.
Some good ideas.
Just don't let it sit too long. It might cause little problems.
Right.
Right.
I will tell you, if you do it right and you have a nice ribeye in the shape and you cut it down the middle and open it up, it has a great heart shape to it.
Nice. And the inside's nice and red.
There you go.
Here's a question. My husband has a food aversion disorder and cannot tolerate red meat. Tried many different forms. What are some options to get those nutrients? He enjoys most other types of meat except for organs.
Well, there you go. Eat plenty of fatty lamb, eggs. There's lots of things that he can eat besides red meat. But lamb would be the go-to, I would say, because of the fat content in it. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yep. I agree. If it's an actual diagnosed disorder, then any of the others. I mean, lamb is good, like Adam said, as far as it's another ruminant meat, so it has a lot of fat.
I thought it was a red meat too, though. That's what I was.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe a red meat.
Sorry, I'm still reeling
he has
from
to eat poultry, pork, or seafood.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is it considered red meat still?
I think it is.
It might be.
Or
doesn't it have to do with the amount of myoglobin?
You know, I haven't even thought about it. I just assumed that ruminants were because the meat is red.
Right.
We have ChatGPT.
I just Googled it. It says lamb is considered a red meat. It's defined as the flesh of animals that is dark in color due to the presence of a protein called myoglobin.
Yeah.
Look at you, Lynn. Good job.
Boy, we're all learning stuff.
Lynn.
Right?
So does iguana count? Because I know Rick would offer up iguana.
Right.
But I would say be careful though with the other meats, especially like chicken, because there's a lot of hybrids out there. And some of us, like myself, have problems with hybrid chicken and chicken in general, because they're not meant to breed in nature. And so it's not going to give you a healthy bird. And so if you're going to do other meats, go for, organic, if you can, the heirloom chickens, and as best quality as you can.
Yeah, anything that's not factory raised. something that's farm raised.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Where's the next question we have? Oh, Carolyn has a good question. Docs often say the excess fat loss will take time because one must heal to then lose fat. My question to the panel, what surprise wins have you had when you felt progress had stalled?
I can answer that right now. I have actually gained 20 pounds, and that was opposite progress. But in the meantime, I've been able to start lifting weights again. And I never thought in my entire life that I'd be able to start working out again. So I would say that that was a huge surprise, is that even though I was going the wrong way on my weight, I was actually able to start lifting weights.
Excellent.
Well, I know back when I first found out that I had, when I was kind of in a stall period where weight loss was staying still for a while, I noticed I used to have these little bumps on my arms, and doctors told me they were called lipomas, which are like fat encapsulated cells, lipo being fat. And then I was like, where are they? I got used to these things being there, and I had some in my neck and I had some in my chest, and I even had one in my back that I had removed with surgery years before because it was causing a muscle spasm because it was rubbing in the right place at the wrong time all the time. And I noticed they were gone. And doctors had always said there's nothing that can make those go away. So that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, and that's
they
not
can
true.
be really big on some people too.
I've had them go away too, and they can be painful. And yeah, they've been disappearing with me as well.
All right.
Little things like not getting a sunburn was a nice one. I love that one because I love being in the sun and not having to wear any of that nasty screen, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'm convinced it's the seed oils. I swear, I'm convinced it's the seed oils. I went to the dermatologist a couple weeks ago, and they did have to do a shave biopsy on something that existed before I was carnivore. But, every time I go to see the doctor, the dermatologist, they ask, do you wear sunscreen? And I say no. And of course, then I get the lecture, right? But I'm part Irish. I burned within maybe 5 to 15 minutes of being out in the sun before. I don't burn anymore. And that's someone who's Irish and English.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's got to be the seed oils.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think skin cancer rates are at the worst they've ever been, as we're using more suntan lotion than we ever have before. It just doesn't make any sense. Booby Goats, when you come to Tennessee, shoot me an email. I could be a speaker.
Nice. That would be great. I put it in the chat just now because Kerry flashed that comment up there. Yeah, email me at ashley@healinghumanity.movie, and we can definitely connect.
Did you all have to clear your houses of all the junk to be successful? It's so hard to do the diet when the whole house isn't.
I have not, because my family is not 100% carnivore, and yet you're right, it is difficult for sure, because there are definitely things in there that you still want to maybe I should just try it one time. But I've been very, very good and doing carnivore for so long now. I really don't have that much temptation anymore. But I know the best method is to get rid of that stuff. Anything that's going to be a temptation to you, for sure. And even if you have to put your food in a separate area of the fridge and of the pantry so that you don't go into the same cupboards or pantry area, I would, if you're having to live with others that are not doing that, that's what I would recommend. Some people definitely need that separation. It's hard when it's just sitting around. I came home after
that's
the Tampa
what we do
weekend.
here too.
Yeah, they had ice cream in their freezer. I'm like, what are you doing?
I know. I get mad at my wife that sometimes she would put bread or ice cream or something in the freezer. I'm just like, honey, this is the meat freezer. We don't put this in the meat freezer. This goes in the other freezer over here.
Yeah. Until my youngest daughter got married last year, and she was back living with us. She got married at 28, and she was not carnivore, although Dave and I are. But for a while there, it was tempting. But we have a little fridge out in the garage, so she learned, leave it out there and you know, so I just had to draw some boundaries, but I got rid of all of our junk. That's for sure. And then whatever she was going to eat. And gradually, honestly, gradually over time, she was buying less and less of that stuff. I mean, as she was seeing the results with me, it seemed to be inspiring her to eat less of the garbage. So that really helped.
Good stuff. All right. Question from Carnivore Zen. Does coffee increase blood sugar? Thinking of switching to decaf.
I don't think coffee increases blood sugar unless you're adding a lot of cream and the sweet stuff to it. Then of course that would definitely, and cream has some sugar in it. But if you're just drinking it black, I don't think coffee just itself would increase your blood sugar.
The only thing I could think of that could potentially be an issue, and Renee, you can tell me if this is on track or not, is that if you happen to be real sensitive to caffeine and it causes a spike in your cortisol, that can increase your insulin levels. And so there could be some sort of a negative consequence depending on how sensitive you are to caffeine, because
That's absolutely the case with me.
Stressor in the body.
And it doesn't, coffee doesn't, even with heavy whipping cream, doesn't affect my blood sugar at all. I don't see any spike.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a continuous glucose monitor and test it, but if it's not affecting blood glucose, it doesn't mean it may not have some sort of an insulin reaction with the cortisol. Right. Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily have any blood sugar spike, but it can definitely stop your weight loss if you're sensitive like that and you spike your adrenals and your body decides to go in fight or flight mode. Yeah. So that's the reason I had to quit coffee. And when I started, I wasn't on coffee. It was one of those things I decided to bring back in and try out because I'd watched all these videos about bulletproof coffee. And I thought, that sounds good. Butter is good. Coffee's good. Let's try it. And I got to where I was drinking, 3 or 4 of them. And then that's the problem right there, is that I can't regulate that stuff. So I just got to stick with meat, water, and salt, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
I have a problem not being able to indulge too much on those things. So I think that's where the other part of it is too, is that if you can actually keep it to 1 cup, maybe you'd be all right. But again, it depends on the person. If you're really sensitive, it will spike your adrenals, no doubt.
All right. Question from Sadie. Hello from the UK. Do you suggest everyone should do the 90-day elimination diet when starting carnivore? Really wanting to start.
I'm going to say I would normally have said yes at one time, but I've heard, a number of other people say that they've had issues when they go straight into a full elimination diet. So I guess it really kind of depends on what your diet was like beforehand. If you were doing a lot of heavy juicing, for instance, if you were doing a lot of greens and juicing greens, and juicing makes it even worse because anything that was in there is intensified. So you're getting a lot of, what do they call those things? Oxalates and stuff in your blood. Mm-hmm. And if you go straight to an elimination diet and you got a lot of stuff in your system, it's going to come out hard and fast, and it's going to be difficult on you in some ways. Some ways it's difficult to even describe all the things I've heard when it comes to oxalate dumping causing problems. But I personally never had a problem with that, but I had already weaned off of sodas. I hadn't been doing juicing for a while. I'd just been eating regular food for the most part. And I thought I was kind of doing it low carb with the occasional bad choice. But when I look back, I was just fooling myself. But when I went to Lion Diet, I just jumped in both feet, and it's been great for me ever since. Now, I think it's worth considering what type of diet you had beforehand, though. I think I got lucky, if that's the case. From what I've learned, is that I could have made it could have been rougher if I'd have dove in with both feet like I normally do with anything else.
Yeah. And I went cold turkey and just went full blown carnivore from eating absolute garbage. And I think it, like Dante said, it's really very individual, because I got lucky too. Like, I didn't have severe symptoms, but some people do. And it may be, if you decide to go cold turkey, it's really important to make sure you hydrate really well, initially supplement with some electrolytes and don't push yourself with as far as exercise. It'll give your body a chance to rest and get through the transition from using glucose for fuel to using fat for fuel. So there is a transitionary period. But if you're for me, I couldn't slowly eliminate things because I'm just an all or nothing person. I had to purge my house as much as I could. And just like, once I made that decision, it was no turning back. So whatever the consequences, but I think hydrating and using electrolytes really helped get through it.
Well said.
Nick is asking, what does everyone think of RFK Jr.'s acceptance? Make America great again.
I hope healthy again. I hope he's successful.
Hopeful.
I gotta be honest, I haven't been keeping up with everything that's going on. That's why I just say, look, get the right people in there and let them do their job, because I don't have time to keep up with all that stuff. But I am glad to hear he did get accepted, because I know there was a lot of friction on that, as well as Tulsi Gabbard. But I just like seeing things moving in the right direction, and I think he's definitely gonna help us get the national picture looking a little bit clearer as to what really healthcare and what food should be. But it doesn't change anything about the thing that we always want to drive home is you don't have to wait for the government to tell you to do anything. You just got to decide where you spend your money and where you spend your time and effort into what you're going to support with your life and your lifestyle. And that's going to make all the difference in the world. If you decide you're going to take control of your health with a carnivore diet, then that's what's going to change things, not what somebody says in Washington.
Well said. Yep.
Well said.
Dr. Ovadia said the same thing this weekend. I was just about to quote him, but Dante said it better. Perfect.
Oh, I didn't hear what what did Dr. Ovadia say?
That's exactly what he said. He said, don't wait for the government to fix your health. That's your job, your responsibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that falls right in line with, healing humanity. So who's Kerry, right, to say he's going to heal humanity, right? Well, it happens by you taking it into your own hands and healing yourself. And then you heal your family, and then your community heals. And then by and large, that's how we heal our country at large, is you have to heal yourself first. So, you take the responsibility on yourself and spread it from there. And that's how we're going to get this thing done, I believe, is ground up. So, I wish nothing but the best for RFK. And I didn't actually see the speech, but, I hope everything goes well there. But that's how we heal humanity, is with you doing what you need to do to heal yourself.
Yeah. And I don't anticipate quick change either, because nothing is ever quick on a government level. And I know my understanding is RFK is carnivore, but that doesn't mean that if there's change in recommended guidelines, they're going to be carnivore, because he's not the only, he has to factor in everybody else, and you have to take baby steps towards change. So they're starting with, getting rid of the dyes and a lot of these things that are really harmful. So I would expect to see little incremental steps in the right direction. And hopefully in 4 years, he'll do a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited as well, just for the awareness that can be spread now, because I think a lot of people just aren't aware how bad and broken the food system is. And I think this will help spread that. I was recently very fortunate to interview Dr. Baker, and I asked him this question about Make America Healthy Again. And he said similar to what Dante said: you have to take things into your own two hands. You can't wait for the government to do it. And then when I ended the call with him, he looked at the camera and he said, you have to be an example to your family. That was his best advice he gave. And I'm like, that's some good advice. I like that. So good stuff. BK Carnivore says, Dante was my inspiration to start my carnivore journey. I was in a similar life situation that he was in when he started carnivore. Good stuff, BK Carnivore.
Seems to be a growing theme, Dante.
Right.
I'm thankful that I was able to help BK and everyone else out there who got involved because of me, or I helped inspire them to move forward. I never really realized what a big deal it was to people until this meetup. That was where things started to change, when you start to meet people face to face. Reading words online is great, but man, even this has been great, because I've only been doing these things with you guys, like on the Sunday hangouts, for 3 weeks. That's been phenomenal for me, because my experience has not been to do those type of meetups yet. I tried setting it up with my Ferrigno Freedom website, which is still under construction. I don't even want anybody to go on there right now to sign up for anything because everything's still kind of in a building process. But the bottom line is I'm thankful that I've been able to help folks. And I'm hoping to be able to keep doing the things like we're doing here on Ferrigno Freedom too, because I know we got a very niche community when it comes to lion diet, and also folks who are in a similar background to what I've dealt with and stuff like that. So I'm thankful for you, BK.
Karen has a question. What do you think about drinking carnation water?
Maybe carbonated water.
Maybe. I'm wondering. Carnation, like
I
the
did
flower?
I did a search for carnation water, and it seems like some people mix in like carnation extract and water, but I don't think that's what she means. It's probably carbonated. But maybe we need clarification.
Well, if it's what do you think if it's carbonated water then?
I mostly drink. I guess it's carbonated. I know some of it's naturally.
All the Topo Chico's coming out.
Yeah, Topo Chico.
I don't have mine with me.
Mine's Club Soda most of the time. Topo Chico gets a little pricey. I love them.
Yeah, and this is mineral water.
Yeah.
So if it's, I know there is a carnation essential oil, so I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it.
All right. Well, we're going to be doing a drawing in just a couple minutes for Redmond Salt Shaker. #salt with your best question. The next question we have is from Jerry. Jerry Lee Colbert. I got derailed off of the carnivore diet back in May when I broke my leg. Had gallbladder removed. Was in hospital for a month. Hospital fed me bad food. It's rough getting back to carnivore. Any advice getting back to carnivore after falling off?
Don't beat yourself up. First of all, show yourself grace. Stay tapped into the community. And if you want extra support, join Healing Humanity Life, because we're there. We can give you more direct support. You can take part in Zoom calls where we can actually interact with you and help you. And we do have a Breaking Addictions group that meets 3 times a week where we can help you with this stuff.
Yep. I would say, what my channel is, Carnivore Today. Just do Carnivore today. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Like Lynn said, give yourself some grace and just do Carnivore today. And then tomorrow you wake up and you say, I'm going to do Carnivore today. So just take it one day at a time. And before you know it, you'll have a string of days put together. It's going to be weeks and then months, and you'll be off to the races and back on the horse. But yeah, I just say, just do it one day at a time and just always have a positive mindset.
Yeah. And your gallbladder not having a gallbladder is not a showstopper for eating fat. Your body will adjust. You may need to start a little bit lower on the fat and work your way up to get fat adapted. I don't have a gallbladder. I was succumbed to the whole low fat phenomenon where we didn't make our gallbladders do their job, so we all lost them.
Yep.
But your body is still producing bile, your liver still produces bile, and your body will adjust. You may just have to go a little slower with getting fat adapted.
And I would also suggest remembering your why. Having your strong why and reminding yourself every day about why you're doing it.
Yep, absolutely.
Melissa's asking. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say one more thing. When starting a new habit, I have found to recall that in ancient times, the beginning of the day was actually the end of the previous day. So when the sun went down, that's when the next day began. You should start planning what you're going to do your next day just before you go to bed at night, and then say, okay, this is my plan. And then when you wake up, you're already in gear to do what you're going to do for that day.
Good stuff. Melissa's asking, do you have any cutting boards for sale in your store?
Ashley. Ship it.
I was muted. Sorry, not yet, but coming very soon. We've got we did these at the Kiltz meetup where we got Kiltz logo on there and Healing Humanity. We will have some Healing Humanity ones for sale, hopefully very soon. We're kind of testing that out, and I'd love to get those for sale because they're a lot of fun to eat on. I love eating on a cutting board.
All right, we got a question. What is the best way to figure out how much I should eat? I've heard at least a pound for females or 1 gram per desired weight. So if I want to get to 150 pounds, have 150 grams of protein, question mark.
This is my least favorite question right now because I'm trying to figure that out myself. And if you read, I've read Dr. Ead's book and Dr. Bright's book, they have different suggestions. And then you listen to other people and they have different suggestions. So I'm going to go in the middle between Dr. Ead and Dr. Bright right now. And I'm going for 0.6 to 0.8 grams per pound of protein and then doubling that to get my fat ratio in. So, I mean, there are so many answers out there. Lynn, I don't know what you do, but it's so hard. You have to find what works for you.
Yeah, I actually don't measure at all.
Me either.
I eat according to hunger. And I know that and I'm, in my mid 50s. And so I have all those, I've read everything about, a woman my age and, making sure you get enough of this, enough of that. And it may come to the point where I will at some point be looking at that, but I've had so much healing to do. Like just the change in diet alone was so significant that I saw unbelievable results. And so I wouldn't maybe obsess too much at this point. Get started and maybe just try to hit 65 to 70% fat in your diet. And I also would recommend getting a smart scale because the smart scale will give you the metrics. You don't need to get an expensive one. I use a Renfo brand. It's very inexpensive and seems to be extremely reliable. And gauge whether or not you're losing muscle, whether you're losing bone or you're gaining. And, and it'll let you know how you're doing. It'll give you that data. And if you're not losing muscle and you're not losing bone, to me, that's a good indication that I'm eating enough. And so that would be my recommendation. But if you do feel that you have to track, then, what Renee said was, you've got different ideas from different doctors. Maybe park yourself in the middle and see how you do. But I would still want to measure metrics on a smart scale and just to evaluate, because whatever you choose to do, you need to make sure you have a way of evaluating. So, get your metrics beforehand, write them down, make sure you have them or actually they're on the phone, but, and then just reevaluate whatever you do and pick one thing you're going to try and then give it some time and then evaluate whether or not it's working and make adjustments from there.
And just to clarify, I, up until recently didn't track my eating or my macros, but because I am healing an autoimmune neuropathy and I need to have like 80% fat every day to be able to remyelinate my nerves, I actually need to ensure that I'm getting my 80% fat. And I wasn't, because my anxiety and depression came back. So I knew I wasn't hitting my fat content. So that's the only reason that I'm tracking macros right now. I would not be tracking. I would just be eating until I was full. But I need to ensure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And good point, because there's so much focus on protein and we really need to be shifting our focus more onto, am I getting enough fat?
Right.
Yep. And just to clarify also, when they talk about 80% fat, it's 80% based on the caloric scale. So 80% of your calories are coming from fat.
Not volume.
Right. But not by volume or by weight,
Right.
but by weight, you're looking at 50-50 roughly. So it's not like you're going to eat 8 pieces of fat and 2 pieces of steak. It's more of a half and half ratio.
Actually, I found it's even less than that from a volume standpoint. I would just say get a macro calculator and track for several days. It'll give you an idea. It's not nearly as much fat as you think it is well, if you look at your plate, it's so much, so doable. But maybe
depends on how you get your meat cut too.
Right.
Yeah, fatty meat.
Because I get when I get like ribeyes and stuff, I'm like, don't trim. I most of the time I say don't trim anything off of there except any of the hard, portions on the outside. Sometimes they'll have a little bit of a fat hard portion. It has to do with the tendons or something like that. But anyway, I'll tell them to cut that off, but don't cut any of the fat off. So I mean, I think there's a good bit more fat in the ribeyes I get.
All right. Jerry has a question. I know someone at work whose sister had a lot of medical issues due to gastric bypass surgery. Any suggestions on how they would or if they could benefit from a carnivore diet?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I would say absolutely. I mean, I know my co-author Amy had gastric bypass surgery. She states this outright to everybody, so I'm not sharing her private information. But you have to eat more frequently because the volume of what you can eat is less. But you can absolutely do it, and it also is going to give you the most nutrient dense nutrition that you can have. One thing that's interesting, and Amy, if you're watching, I hope you don't mind me sharing this because she has shared it publicly already, is she shared that her she's been over a year now on carnivore gastric bypass surgery. And with gastric bypass in particular, you are really bypassing the small intestine, which is where you absorb the nutrients. And a lot of people on gastric bypass need to supplement. Otherwise, they're going to have vitamin deficiencies. And she has not had to at all. And all of her levels are perfect. So to me, the answer is absolutely yes, but maybe eating more frequently instead of like a big meals.
Good stuff. Thank you, Lynn. We're going to be doing a drawing in just a minute for the Redmond Salt Shaker. If you have any more questions, post them with #salt. And if you're interested in learning more about our Healing Humanity membership site, there's a link in the description below, which gets you 50% off your first month. We have a question. Cranky Carnivore Cutler.
Hey.
Question not. I keep my Redmond Salt Shaker on my keychain. It's perfect for Culver's burgers.
Bet it is.
I agree. Jets Afterburner podcast. I was curious. I received my blood labs yesterday. My cholesterol was 225. Should I be concerned as I've been carnivore for 3 months?
Mine is 300.
That number doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I would ask, if your doctor's concerned, I would ask for a breakdown of the LDL, a fractionated LDL test. Because it's very normal. If you're on carnivore, many people, your cholesterol goes up. You need to look at your triglycerides and your HDL ratio. And so what you'll find, triglycerides are the ones that really are a problem when it comes to cardiovascular risk. We know now that LDL really, if it's not the risk that the people originally thought it was. And so you will probably find the more you're on carnivore, your triglyceride to HDL ratio is going to improve, and your triglycerides will come down. They go up when you eat carbs, and your LDL is actually not a very helpful number the way they do it, because it's composed of two types. It's composed of small dense particles, which do create a cardiovascular risk, and big fluffy particles that do not create a big cardiovascular risk. And so get that test done. You'll find on carnivore that you have a lot of big, fluffy, non-risky particles and very few dense particles. So it is not going to contribute to your cardiovascular risk at all.
Interesting enough, too, is the statins that they prescribe often reduce those less problematic LDL particles.
Yes.
Instead of reducing the ones that are more problematic.
Yes, they barely touch the little dense ones that are that can be a problem, and they reduce the ones that are not a problem. And so the doctor's all happy. Yay, your LDL cholesterol came down, but it was the good stuff that came down. And overall, the studies that have been done on statins is that they've shown that people who take statins, it can extend your life by a whole 3 days, but it also increases your risk as you get older for cardiac events, stroke, Alzheimer's, all sorts of, and the overall mortality is lower on people who are on statins.
The thing I want to add to that too, real quick, is that I've heard this a bunch of times, so I just want to throw it out there because he says he's only been carnivore for 3 months, and often in those first 3 to 6 months, your labs will fluctuate a ton. So I wouldn't get too freaked out about anything right now. Let's see what they look like in another 3 months, and you can compare it a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't. I've heard that so many times that lab work
Yeah.
within the first 3 to 6 months is almost pointless to look at.
Yeah, but be armed with information, because you know your doctor may raise an eyebrow and want to start throwing a statin at you, and know that as a patient you have the right to decline.
Good stuff. I was just going to add, Adam and I filmed Dr. Ovadia for the documentary, and he said the same thing that Lynn's talking about. His biggest point was it's the quality of your cholesterol that matters, not the quantity. So you need to dig deeper and find out the quality. So, all right. We're going to do before we do that one, let's do the drawing now. We're giving away the Redmond Salt Shaker now. Hashtag salt. Let's see here. Here we go. The winner of a Redmond's portable salt shaker with keychain holder, Carnivore Police. Congratulations. Adam, how does Carnivore Police claim their prize?
Well, Carnivore Police, first of all, I didn't do it. Secondly, to claim your prize, go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Enter your details there, the prize you won, and we'll make sure we send that out to you right away.
All right. We're going to do another one of these. And Dante, I know this is your first night here. We're very laid back. So if you got to jump off at all, feel free. We normally go for like another hour. So wanted to mention that. The next prize we're giving away is 1 month free membership, healinghumanity.life. So post your question with hashtag life, and we'll be doing the drawing shortly. Hashtag life, post your best question. Let's see. We got another gallbladder question from Matthew. My wife had her gallbladder removed and wants to try the carnivore diet, but she can't eat a lot of fat with her meals. What would be the meats to eat?
Kerry.
I don't have a gallbladder. I know Lynn doesn't have a gallbladder.
I don't have a gallbladder.
Dante doesn't have a gall. It's interesting that so many of us carnivores don't have gallbladders, and then it's not really interesting. I think it's because we avoided fat, because that's kind of what we were told our whole lives, and our gallbladders failed on us. We had to have them surgically removed. I didn't have any problem. I know some people do, and they'll use bile salts, or they'll ease into it. Yeah. So I think maybe that's the recommendation for people. You can
get fat adapted. So I know that the doctors will tell you when you have your gallbladder removed, you need to keep eating low fat. That's what got you there in the place of having to have your gallbladder removed, was eating low fat. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. And the gallbladder's job is to store bile and excrete it when you need it, which is when you eat fat. And so fat is a critical part of the carnivore diet. So I'd say go slow. If necessary, maybe take a lipase enzyme just to help with the digesting the fat, but go slow, and the body will adjust. The liver will adapt to produce the amount of bile needed to digest the amount of fat that you consume. So it's just a matter of giving it the opportunity and the time to do that.
Absolutely. The only other thing I'd add too is be careful with certain types of fat, rendered fat like melted butter, that can mess some people up, but cold butter isn't a problem for some people. So that might be a
fatty meat. You know, beef and lamb are great.
Absolutely. All right. We have a question from Andy. Happily, I'm losing weight, but I'm also losing muscle in my arms. I'm 72 and been doing carnivore since this summer. What would you recommend? Thanks for everything you all doing.
Exercise the arms.
That's what I would say.
That's what I would do if
strength
my
training.
muscle starts to go down. Is I got to start doing more push-ups and more curls and things like that. When you're eating protein, you've got all the materials there to build more muscle, but you've got to build the muscle. You can't. It doesn't just build all by itself. You have to use those muscles, and it requires enough use to get some small micro tears to appear in there, and it has to heal back over, and that's how muscle grows. So, I mean, ultimately what it comes down to is you got to do some reps.
Maybe evaluate whether you're eating enough. because it could be that you're not eating enough in order to, because I mean, technically, if you're eating enough, you really, hard to say if you'd be losing muscle, because it is a building block for muscle that we're eating.
The only thing I would add too is if you're just kind of new to exercising, you're starting out. One thing that I never exercised till I started doing carnivore, and I started out with the elastic bands. Those things are great. They're portable. You can take them with you. You can pull harder if you want to have more resistance kind of thing, but they're really cheap and inexpensive. And that's a good way if you haven't done a lot of exercise yet to maybe start. Question from Josh. What is the best fish or seafood to eat when not eating beef?
I like eating shrimp.
That's usually my escape if I do something that's not on line diet, because I'll do shrimp or maybe scallops or lobster or something like that. But I've always been a crustacean lover, even before carnivore diet.
I mean, I love salmon.
Yes, I would say salmon's a good one too, because it's a fatty one, right? So
if you have no histamine issues, you should be able to eat anything. If you have histamine issues, you might struggle with shellfish.
Yeah,
and you need to be careful too with the freshness of the fish. But if you don't have histamine issues, then just make sure that it's really good quality fish, so that it's not, so even some of the farms now are getting better about their fish, but wild caught is probably better.
well, it really depends on where you're getting the farm raised, but
Yeah.
a lot of times it's coming from overseas, and not that there's anything necessarily wrong with what's coming from overseas, except that what they're sending us is their worst a lot of times, because it's the cheapest option. And I've seen fisheries in Asia personally. You don't necessarily want any fish out of that fishery.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of the best with if you're just looking at the very best, the fresh is the best. I know that's probably kind of obvious, but when I was in Alaska with Bill this last time, filming him 1 year later, his brothers were able to get us some fresh salmon, and oh my goodness, that was
good.
So good. Incredible. Like right out of a river. So good. Question from PR64. How much fat should I eat daily if I'm eating 130 grams of protein and very athletic? I run 7 miles a day and lift weights. I'm 38 and weigh 160 pounds. I've seen broad ranges with macro calculators. Anyone want to take that one?
Well, really, I mean, so we kind of need more details with these sorts of questions, but go with what you're doing now, and then journal. Write down your macros, write down what you're eating, write down data that you're getting from the scale, and then over time, see, are you going in a negative direction? Are you losing weight? Are you losing muscle mass? Are you gaining fat? Try to obtain as much data as you possibly can, and then adjust from there. It's really, like Renee was saying earlier, it's really hard to for us to guess or recommend, how much you specifically should be eating, because there's a lot of different factors in play here. So, it's going to be more on you to be responsible with making sure you keep track of your macros and your data, and follow that along. And hopefully you'll find a solution for you. And it may vary, based on your activity level, and maybe a couple of weeks you're not very active, you have to adjust a little bit. So, that's that would be my advice on that.
It's where smart scale is helpful. And some people gauge the amount of fat that they need based on their bowel movements, because your bowels are going to tell you whether you're getting enough fat. If you're, constipated, or if you're having loose stools, that'll, not that you need to have daily bowel movements as a carnivore, but you don't want to have difficult to pass hard stools. That could be an indication you need more fat. But if you have loose stools, it maybe you're getting too much. So that's just another way of gauging.
And I got it the 80% because that's what the my medical community recommended for my healing of my disease. So I guess there's that too, is why, what is important. And are you healing from something that you need the increased fat? Because 80%, 80-20 is a pretty high fat ratio.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we got Bill Knott in the chat. Bill Knott has entered the building.
Hey, Bill.
Hey,
Awesome.
Bill.
Howdy, Bill.
He's taking over the chat.
Right? That happens every time, Dante. I can't wait for Bill to go to one of these meetups. It's going to be insane when he walks in.
First one,
Carnivore,
he's just going to go crazy.
Coach Lisa, question to all of the panel: what is the greatest outcome while on this way of eating?
I'll start.
Yeah, please.
That cane in the back, it sits in the back and it doesn't go anywhere. I was losing my ability to walk, and I am not losing my ability to walk anymore. So that is my greatest outcome.
Incredible.
Yeah, I can't even talk about how much of a change it is. The flexibility and strength in my body that I didn't have before. And I just thought, well, I'm 48. That's what happens. I remember the old comedy routine, 49. It's all downhill from here, right? Well, at 52, I feel better than I did when I was in my 20s or 30s. I always say in my teens, but I mean, I can't imagine it could have been this good in my teens. I had to be this good when I was in my teens, right? But when I think back on it, I'm like, nope, I don't remember it being even this good. So that's the amazing thing, is just having my overall fitness back, feeling like I can do things that just I didn't feel like I could do anymore. Cutting your toenails was murder. Now it's easy, and I can do it standing up, holding my foot with one hand. I couldn't do that before. That those little things are so valuable. Being able to get down and off the, down on the ground and back up again without having to use something to assist you every time or whatever. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. For me, I could say, I mean, no more trips to the ER is awesome. No more anaphylactic reactions for my mast cell disease is amazing. I could say, losing the 140 pounds of fat is amazing. But for me, I think one of the most profound changes is the fact that I had to retire from nursing, not because, because of all of these symptoms, but my brain wasn't working. And I could not get a coherent thought out. I was slurring my words. I couldn't find my words. And so I had to leave a career that I loved, where I was helping people. And now I look and see that I'm back to being able to help people in a different way by sharing what I've experienced on the carnivore diet. And I'm sure, as you've heard, I don't have any trouble talking anymore. I can get my words out, and that means so much to me, to actually have my brain working again.
That's amazing. I've been very blessed to have a relatively healthy life up until I found out I had type 2 diabetes. So that was a big transformation for me. But I will say, even more so than that, I feel like I got that under control fairly quickly, which is crazy. But I've been huge into this whole community and love seeing this. And what I attribute that to is more my mind being opened up. I mean, I just really have think about things differently and experience things differently. And I love that positivity that it's brought to my life.
My greatest outcome is overcoming depression, anxiety, and being present for my girls, for sure. 100%. Hey, do you guys mind if we add another
We may have a
guest
guest.
to the panel? Should we do it or no?
I don't know.
Go for it.
I don't know. All right, here we go.
Who it is.
Roger Robert Kiltz.
Do we really want him on here?
Hey.
Oh, I love you guys.
Love you, brother.
You guys are the best.
We love you.
Can you hear? You got me here?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're in.
All right.
Nice fire in
hold
the
on.
background.
I gotta do one other thing here. Oh man, I guess. Oh, never mind. But I'm here.
Welcome, Dr.
Hi,
Robert
guys.
Kiltz.
I
Thank you
was
for joining us.
trying to lock into my YouTube, but it kicked me out. So I was invited. I was like going to go to bed a little early, do some eating, but then I saw. Wait a minute.
There you go.
Where else would I rather be?
You don't
Lynn,
need- you don't need
Renee,
sleep.
and Dante, awesome, Adam and Ashley, and of course, Kerry.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Kiltz. Hey, we just had a great question from Carnivore coach Lisa Pickard. I wonder what your take is on this, Dr. Kiltz. What was the greatest outcome while on this way of eating for you?
New friends.
Mm.
New friends that know how to cook a steak right.
Ashley.
Oh my God. Brett, Ashley, rock stars. And we had such an amazing time. But yeah, I got to tell you, it's community more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such an amazing community, connecting, helping, listening, and sharing something that, boy, modern medicine. I was in the operating room today, and I always get a medical student, and I zone in on all this stuff, and I blow their minds and all of it. But Kate was her name. She was really rocking. She listened. First, she was like, "No way." Then after a while, she began like, "Huh, maybe." Community and teaching.
Love it. Good answer. All right, we got a question from Lisa. Lisa, is bacon okay daily on a carnivore diet? Hot dogs are an easy go-to when very busy, but I see hot dogs have carbs. Should I cut out the hot dogs?
Well, I would say it depends. If hot dogs are all you're eating that's meat, then I would say don't cut the hot dogs out.
Yeah.
But if you have the opportunity to eat maybe something that's a little bit cleaner, maybe go with that first. But, as Dr. Berry says, there's nothing wrong with hot dogs. Hot dogs are better than a Snickers bar any day.
Yeah. If you have histamine issues, the bacon could be a problem, though. If you're sensitive to histamine, so I would be very careful to just watch and make sure that you're not getting any histamine symptoms.
And if maintaining ketosis is something that you're interested
My
in.
comment, I was watching how they make things last night, and boy, the way they make most of these processed foods, they're putting a lot of sugar and spices.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I'll be
I'd
right
stay
back.
away.
That's what I was about to say.
I know
Is
it's
that
me. I
because
keep on going in and out, but
if you're trying to maintain any type of ketosis, bacon will say 0 for carbohydrates, but it's more like 0.4 in each piece of bacon. So once those add up, you've got a certain number. And then, if it's putting you over your daily goal or grams of carbohydrate intake, that's going to keep you in ketosis level that you need for the healing your body needs, then you might want to limit those things if you possibly can. But I get where Kerry and Adam were talking about. You eat the meat that you can afford to eat. That way you can be there, and whatever, if that's what it takes, then do what it takes. But I typically avoid both of those on a regular basis for some of those same reasons, but also because of the overall body healing from lion diet.
And
Kerry's eyes got real big when you said 0.4 grams of carbs per slice of bacon, because I think he's had several hundred in a sitting.
Yeah, I've done some damage with the bacon, but I'm leaning more lion diet now because, I do too much bacon.
I'd also say just read your ingredients too, because there's all sorts of different hot dogs, right? And there's some that are definitely better than others as far as what the ingredients are that are in there. So, get the cleanest hot dogs you can that you can
I think
afford.
Hebrew National makes the clean ones.
Which one, Dante?
Hebrew National, I think, was the name of the one I found that was like one of the best ones for hot dogs.
Jerry Lee has a question. What would be some suggestions on dealing with negative comments from family and friends concerning eating a carnivore diet when they are convinced you have lost your mind?
Lynn, you and I had this conversation earlier today because my whole family, I think, thinks
yeah.
I've lost my mind.
My thing is I just, I don't have this, but I have had people who have said this, and I just learned to smile and nod because, if they're bold enough to actually tell you that they're convinced you've lost your mind, you're going to have to see the results. And I know that with me, when people finally see results, you have to interrupt their thinking somehow, something that goes completely against their thinking. If they're thinking you're going to kill yourself eating this way, all you can do is prove that that's not going to happen. And when they see the results, hopefully it'll interrupt that thinking and go, okay, wait a minute. My thinking didn't play out. You know.
Yeah. And then once they see the results, once they see the results, that it's funny. I mean, my whole family is carnivore now, and it's just because they saw before and after pictures. And I know this is not a weight loss diet that we would all say that we've had other benefits from, but the weight loss is what they see, right? And so when they see that the transformation like that, or Renee no longer using a cane, I mean, who would question, what are you doing? I mean, that should be the question coming out of their mouth. What are you doing that's now healed you from not needing a cane anymore, right?
Yeah.
So
You would think.
be the example.
You would think,
You would
right?
think
But
that would be enough, but it's
if you're
not.
if you're bold enough and you really want to engage, you know, if someone says something like that, you know, very often people will say it with a little bit of a condescending tone. And so sometimes, you know, you can say, you know, if they're concerned, they think you're crazy, you can say, oh, really, why? And kind of find out why, you know, because they're going to give you an answer that's completely misinformed. And
I think you could also ask them, is there nothing in the past few years that's given you any indication that we've been lied to about a lot of things with regards to food and medicine in general? Because if they say no, that nothing in the past few years has convinced them that they've been misled to or lied to, then honestly, you're not going to be able to convince them. Just give up.
No. Yeah.
I'll look at this from a little bit different perspective and see, maybe you were saying that the negative comments are affecting you. So speech really doesn't have a meaning until you assign meaning to it. So maybe don't assign a negative connotation to what they're saying, you know, kind of rewrite that in your head a little bit. So I'm trying to channel my inner Dr. Kiltz on this one.
My strategy is to just overwhelm them. When we have family get-togethers, I see the couples come in and they look at each other and they say, don't mention anything about steak around this guy. He will not shut up about it ever. That seems to work for me. Hey, Dr. Kiltz, how excited are you for our Austin, Texas meetup?
I'm speechless. I'm so excited for it. It just meets so many amazing new people and share the stories even more. It's so exciting. I'm just hoping we're all going to sort of get a big enough Airbnb to all hang out and have even more time together. But these meetups again are the very best, and we still love to connect personally together. So that's it. I look forward to seeing every one of you and more. So these are fantastic.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was the only bad thing about the Tampa one is when it ended. You want to do more. There's just something about being in a room with like-minded individuals with that carnivore energy. I know there's a lot more people that have jumped on since we mentioned this before, so I just want to shout it out quick. March 8th, Austin, Texas. We've got Dr. Kiltz is going to be there. Texas boys, Dr. Kiltz, I don't know if you're familiar with them. Family of 8, all doing carnivore. They've got an incredible story. Adam's going to be sharing his story. Nia Nova, the wonderful Nia from Nia's Way. And then we have Pastor Jimmy and Annette and Lauren Knight Hughes. Brisket lunch included. healinghumanity.movie/events. healinghumanity.movie/events. If you're interested in going, I would suggest reserving your spot right away and not waiting because it's going to fill up. It's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to this event. All right. The next question we have from Bev. How many days do you think is good for a water fast? I'll take a shot at this one quick. I think it depends on if you've done any fasting before. Probably good to ease into it. It seems like a lot of people that end up doing carnivores sort of start to naturally intermittent fast, and then sometimes they forget to eat, and then they're sort of naturally fasting. But for me, I started out slow. I did like a 1-day fast, and then I worked up to a 3-day fast, and eventually did a 8-day fast. So I think it requires some baby steps. But I'm interested to hear, Dr. Kiltz, your take on this, because I know you've been doing a lot of fasting lately. The last couple times we've met up, you were just finishing fasts. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Well, I think fasting is one of the best things you can do in life because it's not only physically building and healing. It's spiritually healing. And so I recommend it. I'll typically do one meal a day at night. And I'll do 2 to 3 days of fasting with no food, 2 to 3 days every month. And then quarterly, I'll do 5 to 7 days of nothing. Now I do water. The longest water fast I've done is 3 days. I didn't, I know you've done longer than that with nothing, and our body makes water, by the way. And so we probably could do without a lot of what we do every single day and too many times a day. But I think fasting empties the gut, it heals the body, and it's powerful because you now have food freedom.
Absolutely. Good stuff. All
I
right.
have heard in general that you want to get over 3 days if you're looking for it to do any type of real skin retention or something like that. If you're trying to work on loose skin or fat areas or something like that, that it's really got to be over 3 days to see a whole lot of strong effect. But like you said, building up to it was important for me too, Kerry. I didn't just jump in and do 3 days, but then eventually I was able to do them 3 days a week for 8 weeks. And I never thought I could even do a 24-hour fast before that.
Yep.
I imagine for the first 3.5 million years, we did a lot of fasting.
Yep. That's always that's my default with everything now too. Carnivore and everything else is like, what have we been doing since the start of time? It's very unusual that we have unlimited access to food at every second of the day that we do now. We would have been fasting throughout history. It's one of the most natural things. It's always interesting talking about fasting because a lot of people get fired up. Oh, that's crazy. That's dangerous. And it's like, really? This is something we've been doing since the beginning of time. How could this be so dangerous?
We get fat for one reason: fasting. That is it. We are built to get fat in order to fast for days, weeks, and months. We hibernated, we nested, we gestated, and we migrated. We fasted really well. That's why we get fat so well, because we're built to get fat fast. It's really simple physiologic. Nothing pathologic with any of us. It's all physiologic. It's normal. Obesity is actually normal.
We've got a question from Doug Warren. Any opinions on methylene blue?
Never touch it.
Yeah, it sounds like the stuff from Breaking Bad. I don't know what it is.
A lot of people
Do we
take it.
inject it? Just another sales gimmick, in my opinion.
I know very little about it. I know that it's something that people take, but I don't really know anything about it.
All right, we got a question from Bob Beater. Where is Mr. Bill Knott? Well, Mr. Bill Knott is now in the chat right now. He has entered the building. I think Bill has a big video coming out maybe tomorrow. People always ask me where Bill is. I talk to Bill every day. Bill is incredible. Check out Bill's channel. Make sure you're subscribed. You can stay tuned to Bill, but he's in the chat now. So I can't wait, Dr. Kiltz, to get Bill Knott to go to one of these meetups with us. It's going to be incredible when he walks in the room.
Well, I guess we're going to have to do it in Alaska.
Hey, Bill, you're in the chat. What do you think? A big Alaska meetup. That would be incredible.
We should do it.
Big caravan of people. I've been having people say that since the beginning, and they've been telling Bill that too. Like, can we come up there? Can we come up there? And it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet. That would be an amazing place for a meetup. Some fresh salmon, some good steaks for sure.
Yeah. Really great.
Carnivore at 60, $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Every penny we get from those goes 100% to the documentary. Appreciate you all. 19 months ago, I weighed 369 pounds. Now 170. Wow.
Ooh.
19 months.
Carnivore at 60, he's done a lot of fasting.
Yeah.
Lots of fasting. He's a good guy, San Diego.
Carnivore and Lion last 3 months. Just received my best blood panel HbA1c 5.1, new low from 11.6. Cured everything, including skin cancer.
Incredible.
Yay.
Awesome. That's so amazing.
Carnivore at 60. Check him out. He's got a good YouTube channel. Carnivore at 60. All right. question from Bev. How bad is it eating cheese?
Cheese is the devil.
Especially if
really.
it isn't cheese.
Not really. It is for me, man.
It tastes delicious.
Yes.
But yeah, it stalled me like crazy. And I'm kind of wondering with me too, if it was creating more dizziness. I tend to have dizziness with my mast cell disease, and it tends to, I was eating cheese when we were in Arizona, and I kind of continued afterwards. So I stopped eating it and my dizziness improved. So, and also my weight loss stall, it resolved. So for me, eating cheese is bad.
I love cheese, but really milk products are for babies out of a mother's breast. That's it.
Yeah, the cheese, especially though the fact that some cheese is not even animal, it's not even cheese. It's basically just liquefied topping that's been shaped into something, and then they cut slices into it. So you're getting something that's even worse in a lot of cases, like with American cheese or most anything that's sliced already in the store. And even when I've tried the hard cheeses and things like that, yeah, I can eat them, but there's no benefit for my body in the long run. It usually winds up stalling or causing something to happen with me, because I'm very sensitive to dairy of any kind, whether it's 40% cream or cheese and you've already pulled out, or butter where you've already pulled out all the buttermilk, I still get affected. So some people are much more sensitive to it, but it's like Dr. Kiltz says, it's something that we didn't, as a human race, we didn't make eating milk as an adult a part of our normal life and until much later. And I'm talking about it had to do with refrigeration and a lot of other things that made milk accessibility be a lot easier, to where we were consuming it in the quantities we were. And it also didn't help that we had this ridiculous stuff that went on where they were the whole government cheese fiasco, and then they were trying to sell milk like crazy. That's why we had the whole Got Milk campaign. That was a government instituted thing, because they're like, why do we have millions and millions of pounds of cheese? Because we agreed to buy all this dairy, and then they wanted to try to get somebody to buy all the dairy off of them.
And now they make fake stuff, calling it milk and fake cheese and fake meat and all this other stuff. And
Yep.
We're dying from fake.
Right. I was just going to add, out of all the comments I get on my channel, that's always a big one is I stalled out. And then normally someone says, are you eating cheese? And then there's usually 1,000 comments afterwards. Yep. Cheese stalls me out. Cheese causes me issues. So it's one of the things I've heard over and over again. It's the same thing for me. I had lots of issues eating cheese while I was doing keto. So I haven't touched any of it on Carnivore. All right. We got Who's Your Carnivore gifted 5 Homestead How memberships. Thank you so much, Brett. Really appreciate that. All right. Let's see what question we got here next. Question for Lynn. I heard a few people say their cholesterol went down on Carnivore. How can this be?
Okay. Well, I mostly hear about people with the cholesterol going up. So that might be a better question for Dr. Kiltz.
Well, all depends when you measure it, who's measuring it, what lab you're using, but all of our levels go all over the place. Nothing is a flat line until you're dead. So it kind of almost doesn't matter what you're doing. It is going to go up and it's going to go down. And I would say just ignore it. Low cholesterol is deadly. And I'll just throw this in. You may be eating a lean meat diet and not enough fat, maybe part of it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a good thing. Like Dr. Kiltz said, you don't want your cholesterol to go down. Cholesterol is needed in our bodies. And eating carnivore, you will not get an increase in the little dense particles like I was saying earlier. You're going to get the nice big fluffy particles.
Well, and I'll just also say, where did it start? Because I would brag that my cholesterol went down significantly from when I first started. My cholesterol was through the roof, and actually eating carnivore, it came back down into normal levels. But
yeah, good point.
If anybody's telling you that it went down, maybe that's also the place that they're coming from, because my cholesterol was through the roof before I started carnivore.
Yeah, mine, the triglycerides were high, slightly high before I started carnivore, and my HDL was too low, and my LDL is about where it is now, which is amazing to me. I would have thought it would be higher. And sometimes I'm like, hey, wait a minute. He tells me that too low of cholesterol can be deadly. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know. It's normal, so I guess it's fine. But I do know that my HDL is way up from where it used to be, and my triglycerides are way down. And that's the healthy ratio you're looking for.
And that's a good point, because when they say cholesterol, are they just using that as a blanket term, or are they saying LDL cholesterol? You know, or do they mean triglycerides? Because that's totally normal on a carnivore diet to have triglycerides go down.
Mm-hmm.
And each HDL tends to go up.
Hey, we got Nia in the chat. Can't wait to see you all in Austin. Looking forward to it. Nia's going to be sharing her story in Austin. Awesome YouTube channel, by the way. Check out Nia's Way. All right, we've got a question. Does anyone know?
Also, Nia, before you continue, Kerry, Nia has a course in healinghumanity.life on functional movement that's absolutely incredible. She knocked it out of the park, and I suggest everyone at least sign up just for that reason, because, you know, if you have experienced positive benefits, lost some weight, you're more mobile now on carnivore, but you don't know how to get things going and start your exercise routine, Nia put together a phenomenal course that you can go through at your leisure and get back to moving again, get back to that healthy state that you want to be at.
Absolutely. Healinghumanity.life, and there's a link in the description so you can get 50% off your first month if you're interested. Question, does anyone know what is going on with Dr. Berry's attempts to change up the American Diabetes Association recommendations?
I don't know that he's trying to change their stuff. He's pretty much has his own now, right?
Change the paradigm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It won't happen overnight. I mean, it's going to take some time, but I know he's got a lot of the pieces he's putting together for it. So super exciting.
I heard that he's close to having his donation link ready to go on his website. I don't know that it's already there yet, but I just recently, like yesterday or today, heard that it's close to being there to help raise funds.
Yeah, it's ADS, American Diabetes Society. All right. Target Prime Rib, you all are super great and deserve a lifetime of free steaks. Thank you, Target Prime Rib.
I'll take it.
How about eggs? Because I'm having a hard time finding eggs. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
I'm not going to pick or choose. I'll take the steaks.
Yeah, I'll take the steaks too, but if add a few eggs in there too.
I'll take the steaks, especially if there's any of those tenderloins that we had at the Dr. Kiltz barbecue. That was some of the most incredible steak I've ever eaten. Those tenderloins were fantastic.
Bighorn Mountain Farms.
Yeah.
Best.
Good
So
stuff. Question from Tom. Why are my breath ketones high, 35 to 50, and my blood ketones low, 0.3 to 0.5?
Beta-hydroxybutyrate, acetoacetate are in the blood, and then acetones are very volatile, and they just go out into the breath quite readily. So it's just they released into the air more readily, and they're not in the blood.
So which one's more accurate?
I mean, they're both. I mean, I don't measure any of that stuff because I don't think it's that critical and important, in my opinion. But you know, the problem with all of those things, all measuring devices have inaccuracies and the variability. And so if you're relying on it to tell you, what your state is, I don't think it's that helpful. But, you know, your urine, you could check your urine. It's probably better as a measurement of your, of what your sort of serum levels are like. But I just don't, how do you feel? That's really the most important part. There's no test that's going to say to you, you're healthy.
Yeah.
Here's a good question from Sisse. I wonder where the carnivore movement would be in 5 years.
Well, it's growing like crazy.
Bigger?
Documentary is going to be out. You know, we're going to be doing our series.
Hopefully mainstream.
Hopefully.
We'll have our own sitcom. Seinfeld had his own sitcom with nothing but junk food, cereal, and everything all over the place. That's all they talked about. We could have a carnivore sitcom.
Yeah, I think Dr. Nelson would be a good one for that one.
Oh, yeah. He's a character right there.
I hope we're going to see changes in the grocery stores and what's available at the stores.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing. I want to see the change at the people who sell meat start to actually get excited about, hey, wait a minute, our product is popular.
Yeah.
I think the only change we're going to see is the change we create, which is, I mean, you don't need a grocery store anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're realizing. And the big boxes, they'll continue because there's a lot of money to keep them continuing. That's government, right? So I think the best thing we'll see in 5 years is a lot more carnivores having their own chickens or their own beef and their own pork, or at least working in more co-ops, which I think that's probably the best thing that happens is more co-ops.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope there's going to be some clinical trials as well. I think, isn't it Dr. Baker is going to be doing some clinical trials through Rivero, and I hoping that there'll be some good research as well.
Yep.
But the government's taking all the research money away.
Well, hopefully we'll find it somewhere else. We'll all volunteer to be in the clinical trials.
Right.
I think the Healing Humanity stories are like the very best. Because clinical research, you always have to be cognizant of the money behind it. I'm just
Not to mention when you're talking about something where you're researching what people eat over long periods of time, how accurate is any of it anyway?
Not. I just wonder why we keep on wanting to go back to standard medical clinical studies, which no matter what you do, you're going to find some that are good. And you're going to find some people don't do well on meat and some people do. And then you're going to be like, well, gee, what's the answer? But we already, I mean, I think we know it. I think.
Yeah. Well, the answer is be the example and show everybody that way. And then keep telling the story just like we're doing now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because everything comes down to whether or not you believe what you're seeing, especially these days where stuff can be so faked so easily. I remember seeing that picture of supposedly Trump and RFK and Vivek or somebody all gather, or it was Elon, I think, and they were all gathered around eating McDonald's on an airplane. And I thought, what a strange picture. Is that really something that happened? Because it just threw me off. And then I heard that was totally deep fake. But I mean, that was the kind of thing that would upset people who were supporting him for this. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those kind of things out there. But what it comes down to is it's what you believe about what you see. And when you see things and you hear people tell these stories over and over, I mean, the in-person is huge too. Like you said, Dr. Kiltz, my wife has just like 4 years of watching me do this wasn't enough. Getting together with a group of people who are all experiencing this, and now she's ready to run, she's ready to run with it. And she's been doing straight carnivore since.
You and Katie are amazing. I was watching your video that you did, I think the day or two afterwards. It was like rock solid, amazing. But I think if you really look at the spiritual connective community, it's stories. And it scares me when we want to do science. Personally, I think science is trying to prove something. There's no trying to prove anything here. There's just storytelling, which is really what we live on. Many more Bibles are sold or read than Scientific America any day of the week.
It's full of stories.
Yeah. Human stories, healing stories.
God stories.
Yeah.
Yep. Looks like we got a question for Lynn.
Lynn, where can we get info on the Breaking Addictions?
So the Breaking Addictions is a group on the Healing Humanity Life membership site. And we go through, it meets 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And on Mondays, we go through the 12 steps, but they're applied. They're based on the original Alcoholics Anonymous 12 steps, but we're all carnivores. So it's all based on eating the proper human diet. And then we have fellowship meetings where we can share and you can learn a little, reinforce what we know about the 12 steps on Wednesdays and Fridays. So to participate in that, you just need to be a member of the Healing Humanity Life site.
All right. Thank you, Lynn. All right. Next question we have is, let's see, here's a good one. Sisse, are medical doctors qualified to give nutritional advice?
Dr. Kiltz?
Well, I guess the question is anyone qualified? Nutritionists that are qualified are giving incorrect advice anyway. So every human being is qualified to gain their own nutritional advice, in my opinion. So, I think that Healing Humanity and everyone here, it to me is the best qualified ever, because we've lived the suffering of the healthy, balanced diet, and here we are on carnivore. So, I guess the question is, who's qualified for anything?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Well, and if you're asking if we've gotten training as doctors and nurses, very little. I mean, in nursing school, Renee and I got a little bit of training. It was mostly on therapeutic diets for how to take care of critically ill people in the hospital. They threw a food guide pyramid and said, hey, by the way, here's how people should be eating. But the focus wasn't on it. And it really wasn't there was no nutrition class. I don't know about you, Renee, or Dr. Kiltz. Did you actually have a nutrition class?
I was a nutritional biochemistry major in undergrad. So I've had lots, but it's all propaganda.
But
it's all wrong.
But most doctors aren't.
No, but it's all wrong.
Right.
I would say they actually are, but because we're taught about the Mediterranean diet, it's a balanced diet. We're taught all these things, but it's all wrong.
Yeah.
There just isn't any. And plus, I was watching something on a plant-based diet, and boy, it was pretty convincing.
Yeah. We're taught fat is bad, and always, watch your sodium and eat your veggies, and, you're not going to poop unless you've got fiber. These are all the things that we learned, and it's all wrong.
Absolutely.
We've got a $10 super chat from Sisse. Thank you so much for that. Carnivore Healing Humanity.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Demarius, how do I donate? If I click on stickers, will they get the money? If you do a sticker, every penny we get from those goes to the documentary. If you donate at donate.healinghumanity.movie, that's our GoFundMe link. You get more bang for your buck that way, because YouTube takes some of the sticker money. So that's the best way, is the GoFundMe.
Looks like she just donated there too, Kerry, if you see that.
Oh, there we go. Thank you so much. Carnivore Day 9 here. You guys changed my life. I'm so grateful beyond words.
Awesome.
Please continue to teach newbies like me. It's truly a lifeline. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for the nice words and the super chat. We really appreciate that.
Beautiful.
All right. Who's Your Carnivore has a question for Dante. Have you ever done voice over work? Voice tone is incredible. If narrated is needed for the movie, Dante would be a good choice.
There you go.
It's news to me. But yeah, sure, I'd love to do that, but I haven't done any, no.
All right. Question, what's more of a priority, water consumption or eating carnivore? I have a gastric sleeve and can't consume a lot of either.
Well, you need both.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's kind of both important.
I wouldn't do them at the same time, though.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, in actuality, you make water, and so food eventually is going to be the more important than drinking water at some point.
yeah.
If that makes any sense, right?
Yeah, I would tend to agree also because you know, a good portion of what you're actually eating is comprised of water too. So you're getting water in the food.
And you're getting hydrogen, oxygen particles that actually are what you breathe, drink, and eat. But it's coming from the food. It's got carbon, hydrogen particles, and you have oxygen that you breathe in, which ultimately breaks off and makes water.
Yeah. And the water doesn't contain the nutrients that the meat contains. So you need the nutrients.
Chris is asking.
Sorry.
I
was going to say the most important thing you need to eat is fat. You got to eat fat.
Chris is asking, can you start this diet on ground beef and eggs only? Greeting from Wales, UK.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's probably the majority of what I've eaten on my 700 days on Carnivore is ground beef and eggs.
Get fatty ground beef, not lean.
Yep.
I think Rena said she does all of hers on ground beef over at 5 Minute Body. That was way. It can certainly be done.
And it's actually the most affordable and healthiest thing you can eat. You know, ground beef is really amazing.
All right. Let's see here. My blood test showed high inflammation, normal 6 to 8. Mine was 25. Could this be from toxins and fat and losing weight on carnivore diet?
It'd be helpful to know which test you're referring to. Is it a CRP? Because normal would not be 6 to 8 on a CRP. Dr. Kiltz, does that look familiar? Which test would be normal at 6 to 8?
Let's see. So let's just high inflammation. So let's just say that normal, according to that range in that particular test, was 6 to 8. 25 is high. If that's what if that shows, could be different countries and could be different sort of values. But I would say that fat does not contain toxins. Your gut, your bowels do, and you know, it's always what you breathe, drink, and eat. But carnivore, it's you know, again, there's no toxins in fat, in my opinion. But if you're eating cooked meat or lean meat, you're getting a lot of protein and you're getting a lot of glycated end products in cooked meat. And look at Pottinger's cats. Cooked meat, pasteurized milk was harmful to the cats, and that means inflammation. So that could be part of the problem. I think people eat too much overcooked meat.
Yeah. And if you have histamine issues like me, you could be eating too much aged meat. It's not fresh enough. You may be having some, too much high histamine. It could be if you're eating smoked, aged. Also, if you're eating eggs, the egg whites are higher in histamine. So it might be a histamine issue. I have to be very, very low with lion diet and keep my lion diet low histamine. So it could be that you are more histamine sensitive than you realize.
And some people are allergic to eggs because what the chicken eats. So, and the same thing goes with the cow eats and pig eats and all those sort of things.
All right, good stuff. Well, we're coming up near the end of the hour here. Should we do our drawing for the prize we're giving away right now?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Yep.
1 month free membership, healinghumanity.life. The winner is, and if you didn't win, and you still want to enter, there's a link in the description with the promo code. Hey, it's Target Prime Rib.
Rib.
He's already a member.
And he's already a
All
member.
right. So if you're already a member, just say you want a T-shirt.
Adam,
When
how
you
does
fill out
Target
the
Prime
form.
Rib claim his T-shirt?
Target Prime Rib, please go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Fill out the form there, and we will get your prize to you ASAP.
Awesome.
We love him. He's on our Zoom calls.
Great.
This has been great. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. What an awesome live stream. Dante on for the first time tonight. Dr. Kiltz jumping in. Incredible. I have links in the description below for Adam, Lynn, Dante, Ashley, Dr. Kiltz, and Renee. So make sure you go follow them, support them, give them some love, and come check out our meetup. Does anyone else want to shout out anything or mention anything before we wrap up?
I want to shout out Dr. Kiltz's video that we just put out on the Tampa Bay meetup, or the Tampa meetup. It was awesome. That was such a cool clip. All that put together. It was short, so go watch it. It's not very long. It's really cool.
Yep.
It's very good.
And I want to say, Dr. Kiltz, I'm waiting for you to schedule for our site for a Zoom call.
I get to Alia. Ollie, where's Alia?
He's got an excuse, Lynn. Well, not really an excuse. We'll give him a pass because I want everybody to know here, if Kerry hasn't talked about this already. So the documentary, the budget for the documentary is like $1.3 million. And we've crowdfunded over $250,000. And this past weekend, the doctor that's on this stream right now pledged $100,000 donation to the documentary. So, you know, I'd say he gets a pass.
He gets a pass.
We got it, Lynn. No, we're going to do it. Pilar and Luke are having a baby on Monday.
Oh, awesome.
Unless it happens before then, but it looks like Monday. So I'm excited about that. And but you know, we're going to get it all happening for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, give me a hard time. I get a hard time at home. I might as well get a hard time here too.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kiltz. Thank you, Dante, Ashley, Renee, Lynn, Adam. Thank you, everyone, for all your wonderful questions. We really appreciate you all. And open invite, Dante, Dr. Kiltz, anytime. We're doing these every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central. So hope to see you guys back. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. See you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Night, all.
Bye for now.
Thanks, Kerry. Bye, everybody.
Night, Lynn. Night, Ashley.
Night.
Night, Kerry. Night, Adam. Night,
Love you,
Dante.
Rob.
All right. Love you guys.